have a couple of poems that I'm going to read from this book. Since it's the day we were supposed to go to the zoo, I'm going to read poems about animals. The first one is by William J. Smith, and it's called Seal. See how he dives from the rocks with a zoom. See how he darts through his watery room, past crabs and eels and green seaweed, past fluffs of sandy minnow feed. See how he swims with a swerve and a twist, a flip of the flipper, a flick of the wrist. Quicksilver quick, softer than spray, down he plunges and sweeps away. Before you can think, before you can utter words like dill pickle or apple butter, back up he swims past stingray and shark, out with a zoom, a whoop, and a bark. Before you can say whatever you wish, he plops at your side with a mouthful of fish. And that is the poem Seal. Think about that. Did you notice something about that poem? Did you notice that it rhymes? Some poems rhyme, some poems don't. Going to read one called The Hippopotamus. This one also rhymes. It is by Jack Prelutsky, one of my favorite poets, and it's called The Hippopotamus. The huge hippopotamus hasn't a hair on the back of his wrinkly hide. He carries the bulk of his prominent hulk rather loosely assembled inside. The huge hippopotamus lives without care at a slow philosophical pace as he wades in the mud with a thump and a thud and a permanent grin on his face. That's another. I have a couple more. This one is called I've Got a Dog, and this is by Anonymous. Anonymous means we don't know who wrote it, but it was probably written a very long time ago, and it's actually a funny one. Here it is. It's short. It's called I've Got a Dog. Now, you may have noticed in Hippopotamus, and we will talk about this another day, but in Hippopotamus, the huge hippopotamus hasn't a hair, that's the first line, on the back of his wrinkly hide, that's the second. He carries the bulk of his prominent hulk, that's the third, rather loosely assembled inside, that's the fourth. Hide in the second line and inside in the fourth line rhyme. So lines 2 and lines 4 rhyme. They skip a line. So listen to this poem, I've Got a Dog, and let's listen to where the lines rhyme. I've got a dog as thin as a rail. He's got fleas all over his tail. Rail, tail. Lines 1 and 2 rhyme. Let's listen to 3 and 4. Every time his tail goes flop, the fleas on the bottom all hop to the top. Flop, top. Lines 3 and 4 lines. So lines 1 and line 2 rhyme, and then lines 3 and 4 rhyme. We're going to talk about that another day, about where our rhyming poems rhyme. But just for today, we're going to just read one more poem. One more animal poem. This one is called The Tree Frog. And I chose this one because it has some OA words that say O. I'll put my thumb up when I hear them. Ready? The Tree Frog by John Travers Moore. The tree frog creaks and croaks and croaks and says dee-deep on elms and oaks. Dee-deep, he says, and stops till when it's time to say dee-deep again. So listen to that one. The tree frog creaks and croaks and says dee-deep on elms and oaks. So croaks, oaks rhyme. Dee-deep, he says, and stops till when it's time to say dee-deep again. Did you hear those rhyming words? When and again. So those were all poems from this book that I have about poems, and they all rhyme. So we might try to do some poems that rhyme as we go on with our poetry unit. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.